Welcome back to the Play It Down Sports Podcast, episode 12. We're your hosts, Scott and Tom. College football week 1 is in the books. We have reactions, bad beats, a couple of tickets we wish we could unplace. We'll take a look at week 2 of the college football season, set the table for week 1 of the NFL. We preview the NFC conference this week with some futures and a pick or two. We got a couple more boneheaded clueless actions of the week for you and a quick golf check-in. Ryder Cup. Captain's picks are in. We got to analyze. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, follow us on Instagram. Play It Down Golf. That's where all our picks will be. You can also catch us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Yes, we finally made Apple Podcasts.
Boneheads to talk about every week. It's amazing.
This show is for entertainment purposes only. Bet responsibly. Grab your beverage of choice and let's play it down. What you got there?
This one is the name of the wine, and it's really tasty, is Fat Rooster.
I love the name.
The name is great.
If I disappear for a minute, I may go get a wine glass.
I believe that it looks like it is a blended wine, and it is just, it's awesome. 2023, and it's the wines that I get are part of a wine club, and they just send you for a pretty good price. It's kind of what I've had in the past, except more variety now. And this one I'm going to reorder.
Nice.
Fat Rooster.
I am back to Stella, and I have a little shout out for John LaBianca. I guess he liked almost being in the top 5 of putting, and he's been watching our podcast, and he sent me this lovely Stella Artois chalice.
Wow, that is nice.
It is nice.
And you got Stella in it too.
And I did.
The real beer
I had to go buy more Stella just because he got me the glass.
Yeah.
So I had to do it right.
I think he's working really hard on his putting.
Well, he did send us a video, didn't he?
Yes. I actually, Jason Washburn's another one that's working on his putting. I played with him on Sunday. He's got a little bit of work to do to get up into the top 5. He had moments, but it clearly wasn't enough for him to actually make it into the top 5. But he's on the putting green. He's really, working hard at it. And I expect at some point he might.
He's contending for it. He wants the top spot.
Yep. It seems to matter to people. I don't know exactly why.
I love it. I love it. But speaking of golf and putting and everything else, we do have the Ryder Cup picks are in. The captain's picks for U.S. from Keegan Bradley came in a little earlier this week, and then Team Europe finished off their picks a few days ago. The only real shock, I guess, is Keegan not making the team.
Well, that's been discussed every week, it seems like. It's like I feel like Jim Nantz and crew love to talk about that week after week, whether he should have picked himself or not pick himself, or and it's not just the broadcast, it's all over the place. But
yeah, it's every interview they've had.
Exactly.
So it's ironic. So I wanted to look at this and we will not spend a lot of time on this.
Yeah.
But let's just look at the snubs. Who on the US side got snubbed?
I would say Chris Gotterup if I was gonna the one guy. I think he finished around 10th. He won a tournament late in the year. He's been emerging and really coming up the curve. And I get so sick of watching Colin Morikawa. I don't know why. I have a bias, I guess, against him because it feels like he just collapses. And I kind of hate seeing his name on the U.S. team. I just do because
I kind of agree. Every tournament he starts out okay and then he just fades and fades and
yeah,
fades.
It seems like he doesn't. Anyone who's switching their caddy every other week.
That's a good point.
And seemingly pinning the bad golf on somebody else. He's not really doing that necessarily. To have him in this type of competition, I don't know. I feel like he probably has earned it from the standpoint of points, especially if Keegan's going to keep himself off the team. But of the non-Keegan, if you're not counting Keegan in that question, I would say it's Gotterup. I'd much rather have him on the team than Morikawa.
I agree. And I still think Bradley kept himself off because he's just not that long. And Beth Page Black is brutal.
Well, and I think even if that's not the reason, if you're the captain of a team and you have to decide whether you're going to put yourself in the lineup when you have to make that decision,
good point.
You're far better off just focusing on the team. It's kind of like, it's easier for somebody to coach a team that doesn't have their son on it than if they have their son on it. Because
Yeah.
as soon as you're coaching a team with your son on it, you're under. And this to me is somewhat similar. Obviously, it's more about Keegan himself and putting himself in the lineup or not. But I kind of feel like he's better off coaching this team, picking the best team. And my only gripe would be, should Gutter Up have maybe been considered?
And he might
And I
have
don't
been.
think anyone else has mentioned that, but I've watched that guy play, and I think he's long too. You're talking about
He
length,
is.
right? So
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I think Bradley didn't want anything to do with Beth Page Black. I really don't. I think he had the out to keep himself off the team. I think Cantley is there and Morikawa is there because it's Beth Page Black, and I don't think Goddard is he's just
Right.
not proven enough yet. But
and
that's
if you
it.
need
Other than that,
somebody, if
I
you
love
need
the team.
somebody to delay the pace of play, Cantley's your guy.
Cantley's your guy.
Right? He could drive.
Put him right with John Rahm.
Yeah.
John Rahm will love it. Now on Team Europe side, captain's picks are Shane Lowry, John Rahm, Sepp Straka, Victor Hovland, Ludwig Eborg, and Matt Fitzpatrick.
Oberg. You gotta get that.
I always
name
do
right.
that.
Yeah.
I always say Aberg instead of Oberg. The only thing I really saw online that people were, I guess, surprised about was Matt Fitzpatrick, and I don't see it. I think Fitzpatrick is gonna do fine.
Good fit on this
He's
course.
long. I think he's a great fit. But we'll see what Luke Donald's team ultimately does. The odds right now have the U.S. at -140 and the Europeans at +150.
Oh my God, it's really hard not to bet the Europeans on that.
It is, and I think if this was being played in Canada, I'd take the European team. U.S. soil, Beth Page Black, I do think U.S. pulls it out. I think it's like 15-13. I think it's close.
Right.
But I do think the U.S. rider, the U.S. team does capture.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not betting on Team Europe.
No, and
I'm not. But
and
I'm
I
not
can't
gonna,
either.
I'm not laying 140 on the U.S. team.
I can't either. But that's the Ryder Cup. So a little brief. We'll get more into the Ryder Cup the week beforehand, but that's the Ryder Cup. All right. We have another lovely segment of Boneheaded Clueless Actions of the Week.
Yeah, and I think the clueless part is really critical in some of the things we're going to discuss, right? Because sometimes when you do stuff, you make decisions, you're not looking forward to the ramifications of what those decisions might be.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just whether you get past it, but sometimes you're going to get buried by the public in your decisions, right? So the first one we're going to talk about is related to tennis, right? The U.S. Open.
U.S. Open's full swing.
Yep. And Jelena Ostapenko was playing Taylor Townsend in a match. I happened to be there. It was last Wednesday. It was a highly, I guess, I didn't realize how popular Taylor Townsend was as a U.S. tennis player.
Not a big tennis guy.
Yep.
Never heard the name.
And I watch a lot of tennis. She's somebody who's really, really good in doubles. I think she's ranked top in doubles and also a solid singles player. And the U.S. public loves her. And the U.S. Open is a very open tournament, right? It brings in a ton of people. It's a great experience to go to. Anyway, they're playing this, and I got myself a perch seat where I could watch like 3 matches at once, and this was one of them. I went with my wife. It was we had a great day watching the tennis. This particular match, Townsend was a slight underdog. Ostapenko's from Latvia. And she is a previous French Open champ from 2017. So she's won a major.
Yeah.
And
real deal.
The crowd is definitely behind Townsend, 100%.
Oh, yeah,
right?
U.S.
So Ostapenko gets up 5-3 in the match. I'm going to just give you the result of the match. 5-3 first set, loses 9 games in a row. And there is a point where she leaves the court to take a break. There's allowed breaks. I don't know if it was an injury or for a bathroom break, whatever it was. But anyway,
he needed a break.
And so at the point that she left the court, it was 3-0 Townsend in the second set in the middle of this run, right?
That's 5 games in.
But you could see that she was yelling at her coach. She was frustrated by a couple of things that happened. And then after the match is over, Townsend wins this match a 7-5, 6-1. Ostapenko wins one game out of the last 11. And they have a discussion after the
At center
handshake.
court.
And what comes out after it is, and it's not a pleasant discussion, right? It is definitely a back and forth. It's not, hey, good match, and I'm going to leave the court. Taylor, good job. It was, Taylor, you didn't apologize when you hit a net cord shot that went over the net at some point during the match, and you should have done it, right? So there's a protocol. A lot of times you hit a lucky shot and you'll wave it off, sorry about that. No one's really sorry, right? They win the point. It's part of the game. It's like a ball bouncing back in the golf course when someone hits a ball in the woods and it comes back in the fairway. They're not going to apologize. They're going to take the break and move on. So anyway, she was upset about that, and also the warm-up before the match started. Taylor Townsend started near the net, and Ostapenko didn't like that. The protocol apparently is to start at the baseline.
So it sounds like there's some unwritten rules here.
Unwritten rules that aren't really rules.
Oh, my God.
And so those two things occur, and she basically said, that you have no class and no education to Taylor Townsend. It came out afterwards. And that was what then immediately went up on social media.
Yeah,
that's a pretty boneheaded thing. She later blamed her lack of English, like not being her first language, for that as an excuse. But the fact that she brought all this stuff up after the match was over in that way directly to Taylor Townsend in front of all the fans that supported her. The other thing she commented on is, wait till you get to another country. So, in Taylor Townsend, by the way, beat her in Canada. So I don't know what she was talking about there, unless Canada's not. Maybe some people don't think that's another country, but whatever.
Any racial component to this?
That was so Taylor Townsend was very clear that she did not view that as a racial component. So there were really people on social media that did. It was clearly an emotional reaction to losing a match in a bad way. When you've lost 10 out of 11 games. And I think
that's a brutal collapse.
And I think she realized it later, but like the cluelessness and boneheadedness of not being able to walk off the court and avoid that kind of scene.
Take that 10,
and she also then waved to the crowd as she left and got booed, right? All of it was bad.
Yeah, all of it was
bad. So anyway, Jelena,
right, boneheaded.
You made boneheaded. If you're listening, I hope you enjoyed that part of the segment.
Yeah, she's boneheaded.
Okay, we go to number 2. This will be a quicker one. I was in a match, President's Cup match on Saturday. You were my wingman, and we basically I played against an opponent, and we had a very good match. He was on that day. I lose 4-3, and this is in no way about the result of the match or the opponent of the match. It was this wrinkle where we had a fourth person that was not related to either me or connected in any way to me or my opponent. The opponent cleared you joining and supporting me during the match, but it was a very pleasant match, but the fourth person that joined us was not. Not connected in any way to any of the three of us, right? And what I learned from that match was, and maybe you could argue that I was the boneheaded one for not understanding better what we were getting into by adding in this fourth player who had no idea about match play. So if you take some people, for example, that you're in these matches and it's very, very intense.
It's serious.
But it's serious, but you're also comfortable to be laid back and say, join us for the match. The etiquette that this guy displayed was, and it wasn't, and it was a clueless factor of it. It's a cluelessness.
It was completely clueless.
Right.
Like, to the point when you have 3 people on the green and you're away because you're the furthest ball, and you hit the putt and you putt it to within, I'll say, 18 inches.
Right.
It's inside 18 inches. And you stand there. And the other 3 guys are looking at you like, all right, what are you going to do?
Are you going to mark it?
Are you mark it or tap it in? Like, I don't care.
Just go do something.
But yeah. And it didn't happen on one hole.
And then we're waiting to make important putts, and it was just, and so I would say, Mitch, you finish that out if you want, or I tap a couple away. But it's a distracting item.
The challenge was right. It takes your focus away
right.
from what you're
doing.
I
learned from that is you need to, when you're playing a match, if you're having other people with you in the group, you absolutely have to know who they are and make sure that you're picking your group. I don't want to be a snob, but like that is not the time to be like
he's a weekend player, just having fun, not realizing what's going on. He's playing the forward tees. He's walking.
Oh, well, that was another part of this, right? You almost killed the guy.
I almost killed the guy.
Right.
I hosel a ball. It went 900 miles an hour over his head.
Right. So he's on the gold tees, and he, instead of waiting for the three of us to hit, decides, I don't have an issue with if it's off the beaten path and you're kind of out of play, sort of, to go off, maybe stand behind a tree. But he, on one hole, stood not in a good spot.
And you're seeing him.
And we hit, predictably, you're going to hit all three of us were capable of hitting awful drives.
Of course.
That day. We're not two handicaps, right? I mean, the pros will hit spectators, and spectators are comfortable because they're hitting them 300 yards and it slices a little. Right. But we can hosel one anytime, absolutely. Right?
So yeah. So I do give you a little bit of the blame, but only a little. I think there could have been a little bit better discussion in you knowing what type of golfer
I talked to the pro, right? He went online and opened, I didn't book the foursome, I booked the twosome, then we added you. Right. He'd already added himself, and it turned into a little bit of a mess.
A little bit of a mess.
Right.
But again, the yellow gentleman you were playing with was on.
Yes.
And there was
sounding like sour grapes. I guarantee you it's
really,
not.
It is 100% not sour grapes. It is literally just a clueless individual not realizing they were joining a match he asked us if we were playing stroke play or match play on the 15th hole after watching the whole thing. After watching, and it was over on the 15th.
Yes, hole. It was already over. Sorry, you're asking the question when the match is over.
A little late.
Okay.
Any more?
So we have one other one, which is going to lead us into college football. And this is related to Tulane and Northwestern, who played, and we were suckers who bet on Northwestern. They're on my list to never bet on this season again. I will not bet on the coach or the team. They were unprepared,
and I switched my bet. I had Tulane initially.
They were unprepared. They were an underdog player of the week on some high handicap on some very respected handicappers. I think they were a Big Ten team getting 6 points. And this is really not about this discussion of being boneheaded and clueless, even though the team was coached horribly, is not so much about the game itself, but what happened before the game. So 13 days before the game, Tulane requested that Northwestern, that they wear a certain uniform to honor the 20th anniversary of some of the victims of Katrina.
Okay.
Tulane is located in, the New Orleans area. Yep. And they requested be able to wear, I think, white uniforms with plain helmets. Northwestern denied them that by saying that they'd already planned for the uniforms they were wearing and had shipped those uniforms. Now, we're talking 13 days before the game, and I don't know much about what goes into uniform preparation, and that's probably where the debate is. But anyway, Tulane was told they had to wear their standard green uniforms.
Well, what they had already agreed upon.
Which there had already been there had never been a request prior to August 17th for Tulane to wear a different uniform from that university.
So clearly, the boneheaded move here is on Tulane.
No, I don't agree with that. I think the boneheaded play was, if you're Northwestern and you've got an event like that's a 20-year anniversary and you're getting a request 2 weeks before a game to manage a uniform change, you might want to work out an expense deal with Tulane and say, hey, we've already put a lot into the uniforms, whatever the hell that means. But they decided that they were going to play hardball, make Tulane wear their standard uniforms. And Tulane's coach, indicated that was a motivating factor, and they went out and they made Tulane look like dog crap on the field, 23-3.
They made Northwestern.
Or Northwestern look like dog crap on the field and beat them 23-3 in a very poorly played game by Northwestern. A Big Ten team going down to Tulane, who is a highly regarded team in their conference, albeit, not one of the strong conferences. My view on that, Scooter, is that they should have, the cluelessness part, whether you believe that Northwestern is in the right or not, they certainly are in the right to say, nope, we've agreed to this. We're wearing our uniforms and we've already put the money into shipping them. Is what that's going to lead to, which is, A, you're going to poke the bear on a team who's already favored over you. And then B, you're going to have social media is just going to trash you after. And that's all exactly what happened. It played out exactly as you would have predicted.
It's but so
you
can
stand on principle.
Think the boneheaded play is Tulane. How do you not know? Listen, it's not like the schedule snuck up on you. You know the date. You know when Katrina was. To me, this is someone that when
I think you would have. I'm going to go with you would have. You would have if you would have been insightful enough to figure out how to work with them and let them have some recognition of Katrina with their uniforms. If you'd been in Northwestern, I give you more credit than I give the Northwestern administration, even though you're teaming up and siding with them.
I'm siding with Northwestern a little bit. I need more information about what goes into actually sending down the uniforms. Yeah. Now, if it's a major ordeal and these uniforms get sent, 10
sounds like
days
a pile
beforehand,
of BS to me. That's all I can say.
I don't know. Well,
Northwestern, you are clueless and boneheaded.
Well,
and I will never be putting, not so much because of that, but because of your play on the field.
Yeah.
You demonstrated that you've got nothing.
I don't know. I do want to make one note. I am wearing a Ryder Cup hat. They are on sale at Golf Galaxy.
Nice.
MaxFly's doing a huge Ryder Cup promotion. It's actually pretty impressive, the stuff they have.
Right.
I
got the trucker hat, Mount Tabor, KC trucker hat, Mount Tabor member guest hat that he gave, and we've got Dave. We got Dave Gordon's hat out there, don't we? Still today.
Here, let's go to this scene. There's Secure Consult, and we still have the Superbook. Now I will say our Superbook week 1
was horrible.
And speaking of week 1 in college, we will move right.
By the way, in that super contest that we're in out there were 8 top plays. Most popular plays, and a lot of these guys are sharp players that get in a contest like that.
Like us.
Well, yeah, we can call ourselves sharp. The sharp plays were 1 and 7 in that contest.
So me being 2 and 5 is good.
It's good. Yeah, that means you were good.
All right. So this first slide is Tom's.
Oh, I like this slide.
So Tom had some great futures last week that he added, and these are kind of what's happened since you put them in.
Yeah, so what I did was, this had nothing to do with our plays from last week, which I think were pretty small in volume, but not very successful. This was the end. This was basically, other than the win totals, where the odds have shifted since before the season started and where they are today, right? So we put out Florida winning the SEC at 18-1. Now that shifted to 15-1.
Yep, they won.
Now I think what happened here is Alabama's disastrous and awful loss sort of created value for some of these other teams, right? Even though Alabama's loss was not part of an SEC game, it's sort of proving that, some of these teams that people are sort of dismissing may be better than expected. Florida and Oklahoma both beat weak teams, but beat them convincingly. And their odds went from 18-15-1 and 28-22-1. The big one here was LSU. I put that out at 25-1, and I think it was hard to get in DraftKings. I think it was a lot less there. But I was able to get it in Vegas at 25-1, and now after the big win over overvalued Clemson, who's continuing to show that they not keeping up with the portal is going to hurt them, is now at 10-1. So Brian Kelly takes Dabo or Dumbo Sweeney down in a pretty big way. Florida State to make the playoffs was 15-1. They are now 450-1 to make the playoffs after boat racing Alabama.
Yeah.
And
Alabama
the only
looks
thing I
horrible
regret is not putting Florida State money line at
to
5-1
win.
in, which I had
And
considered.
you did discuss it.
Yeah, and just didn't do it. Southern Miss, not much movement there. Memphis, not much movement there. The Southern Florida win over Boise caused Memphis to drop a little. Southern Miss was neutral. SMU to win the ACC. You got Miami and Florida State dropped them in no fault of SMU. They just sort of dropped from
SMU played Western Illinois.
Yeah, so they win their game, and we know that Baylor was a disaster against Auburn. Very disappointing. The most disappointing game of the week for me. I'm actually bitter because that's a team that should have beat Auburn the way they played early, and they let things get away from them.
And then poor coaching.
It felt like he's a guy I got to put on a list pretty soon for poor coaching.
Yeah.
Now, the Heisman winners are also interesting, right? We've got the LSU quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier, at 950-1. He's now, I think, the favorite.
At +8.
At +8. So his odds are not that different, but Arch Manning and a couple of the other quarterbacks that were dropped,
Well, Arch Manning had to drop. He looked horrible.
He was horrible. And again, hyped up, and he had, 3 college, and, he'd snapped a few in his college career, and he's the favorite because Peyton says he's good.
The name.
John Mateer was 25-1 from Oklahoma. He's down to 16-1. He's my favorite, Devin Dampier. I remember I commented on him coaching or quarterbacking at New Mexico and leading that team to a 5-7 record.
Yep.
He went from 60 to 35-1. Now that he's with Utah, and they just
destroyed
UCLA, and that Tennessee transfer was pretty garbagey in his debut. And then Sawyer Robertson, again, another Baylor bitter pill I got to swallow is Sawyer Robertson going from 80 to 120. He's out of it.
He's out.
Right.
Which is a shame because actually I thought he played overall.
He played
well.
Yeah, I mean, Auburn there was just so many things in that game that we don't need to relive it.
We don't.
Just
all right. Let's move on. All right. Now we have our college picks for
you're is this like a nervous thing by sweating your hands after last week? Or?
I wanted to throw kind of. So this is last week's plays. We wanted to throw this up here so we have it. We may go back to it when we do our NFL futures. But we don't need to discuss our college picks from last week.
Well, I think we do because we want to make sure we're transparent about them.
They're pretty,
and I think we need to talk about these. Yeah, I understand that, but we have to admit that we sucked.
We did suck.
So we sucked.
So
Colorado, and so by the way, did an awful lot of other people who are doing this much more seriously than us.
No, not us. So the Colorado over Georgia Tech.
You are on the right side of that
game. It was
that's
tied.
A Deion Sanders mismanagement and a bad defensive play that gave right. Yes.
I really thought Georgia Tech was going to win at the end. It was 20-20. I figured I was hoping they'd kick a field goal.
Right, and then you covered.
And then
right?
I covered.
Yes.
Didn't work out. They let the guy scramble for a 45-yard run into the for a touchdown, and then Deion and his infinite clock management wisdom
proceeded to take any chance they had. Right.
Now
Can we just talk about that clock management? Because I almost put Deion and a couple other coaches instead of Northwestern on the knuckleheaded moves. Right. If you have they give up the long run. Georgia Tech scores
over a minute left.
Right. You have a minute 9 or a minute 15 left in that game. They found a way to keep all 3 timeouts in their pocket and have to throw a Hail Mary from midfield. And I believe that somewhere around 45 to 50 seconds of a minute 10 evaporate off the clock without using a timeout. Now, Deion's defense was we were getting out of bounds. Yeah, you got out of bounds a couple of times. You also didn't get out of bounds a couple of times and let the clock run when you had timeouts. You can't defend it. It's like, if Deion says it's true in his mind, it was not. He is not a good coach when it comes to clock management.
No.
And and he's off my list to put any money on because I can't bet on a coach who can't calculate when he should use his timeouts. Like hire me. I'll go in and take that job. I can help you manage your clock if that's all I got to do.
Usually,
and call timeouts properly.
Texas over Ohio, we already mentioned. Arch Manning just had nothing. He looked.
And you got great value on that at 2.5, right? Against where that closed, yeah.
And then Clemson over LSU. I actually like that pick.
But by the way, before you go away from that Texas game, do you know that Texas outgained Ohio State 350 to 200? I'm rounding.
I did not. It didn't seem that way at all.
Ohio State did not move the ball. So anyone who thinks Ohio State, yes, their defense is great. Anyone who thinks that they're an offensive juggernaut, though, or doesn't respect the Texas defense, did not watch that game. So I just wanted to make sure that, No,
it's good. It's good knowledge.
Yeah.
And then Clemson, again, Clemson's up 10-3 at half. They really should win this game. And they do everything that they could to lose it.
And they were just outplayed. I'm just celebrating my LSU.
Yes, you did have LSU. I know. And then on your side, Wisconsin. You lost on the hook.
So that started off the week, right? I looked at this thing and I said 17. I didn't like the hook. I commented didn't like the hook.
I didn't like the points. It was just a lot of points.
So we were playing poker Thursday, and another guy in our game, Billy, had the over, which was a disaster. I think final was 17-0. But the problem here is Wisconsin was so inept on offense. They just could not penetrate a Miami of Ohio MAC team defense, and they didn't let them score. But anytime you're when I am kind of done laying points. One of the things,
and you mentioned
I say that every week, and then I go and do it, right? And I'm tired of doing it.
You got to lay points here and there. Listen, I laid 3.5 against LSU, but 17.5 when I
know, and I don't like.
Again, you're hoping that Miami doesn't score. You're hoping that Miami, Ohio doesn't score, and you're thinking that
they don't,
and they should have put up 24 points, if not more.
It was awful.
They hit a wall at 17, and then you lost on the hook.
Right. I mean, the Cincinnati game was a good, solid game. Taking the points at a neutral site worked out, and that's my type of bet. Right. It just is. Baylor at home getting 2.5, another one of my type of bets. We've already talked about it. It was just a myth. I mean, Auburn has a young team, and they just use their athletes. I don't know. They took an experienced team.
The quarterback just ran all over.
Well, but that quarterback, Arnold, last year lost his starting job at Oklahoma.
Well, again, I don't know if he can throw the ball.
He can't throw it.
I don't know.
Auburn.
He never had to.
Auburn is not a team you should be jumping on because they beat Baylor with a guy who got got penetration a couple times through a line that was not paying attention.
Yeah.
And then the Virginia Tech game. This is maybe, I won't say the most brutal, but I was at a barbecue. O'Leary's there. He's all hyped up, him and his wife, about South Carolina.
Well, his daughters go there.
Yeah, they go there, and they're all happy because South Carolina's winning. I'm like, all I need is a cover, and South Carolina gets a mid-fourth quarter score. And the only person not celebrating there, it felt like, was me, only because O'Leary is loud. But it was a brutal. Virginia Tech did not look the part. They I don't think South Carolina's that good, but they have a stud quarterback, and it was just one of those games that you could feel it getting away from you, that it wasn't going to happen. And yet, again, I had 3 games on the slate getting points, loved them all, and was 1-2 on those, and then throw in the Wisconsin game. Bad, but at least we're being transparent that we sucked.
So those are, now we also have the NFL futures up here. This is what we went over last week. I'm going to go back to this slide when we talk about the NFL, but let's move forward with this week and our NFL futures for this week. So I'll actually jump off first here. All right. So my first game, I am looking at Illinois versus Duke at Wallace Wade Stadium. The line has Illinois laying 3 points on the road with Duke as the home dog. Last week, Duke took care of Elon, 45-17. Again, not much competition, so it is what it is. But they did pull away in the second half, and some of their numbers were impressive. They had 548 yards of total offense.
You're talking about Duke now?
I'm talking about Duke.
But you're going with Illinois in this game.
I am.
Okay.
I am. Because Illinois looked even sharper. They destroyed Western Illinois.
Yep.
Yes, I know it's Western Illinois, but they won 52-3, and 441 yards of total offense. But their defense was stout. Again, it is Western Illinois. I understand, but that's a level of dominance I just can't ignore. Duke can score, no doubt, but I do think Illinois' defense is on another level compared to what Duke saw last week. I think this one stays tight into the second half, but Illinois defenses makes the plays down the stretch. So I am picking Illinois minus the 3. I'm looking at final score, pretty much a 7-point game, 27-20, something like that.
I mean, like I said, my daughter went to Illinois. I'm a Illini fan. I think they're going to be really good this year. They're highly regarded. It looks like a sort of like you think about Duke football and you're not necessarily, but
right. It doesn't get the blood pouring.
These are two teams I might be playing on all year. And so I basically avoided this game. I don't mind the play. I just think it's kind of I think it's kind of one of those plays where both teams could turn out to be better than could be strong this year.
Right. And I do have a future with Duke over the 6.5 wins.
Right.
So this is one of those games that I had going either way.
Right. But you like the Illinois team just a little bit better.
Yeah.
And with a field goal, yep.
You're
going back to Baylor, huh?
I am. So we'll jump into Baylor SMU. SMU is obviously sitting as a 2.5-point favorite.
You a masochist or something after watching them? Well, actually, you didn't bet.
I didn't bet Baylor. You did, and I didn't like that bet. I said I was surprised you took it. So it's a 2.5-point favorite at home. Last week's win didn't exactly come against any tough competition for Illinois. However, Baylor, on the other hand, they look like a week 1 team. Their offense at times was extremely sloppy. I still think the issue is coaching more than the talent on the offensive side. I still think Sawyer Robinson was the standout, and if the play calling was sharper, I think that game could have turned out different. The getting 2.5 with Baylor feels like some value. In fact, I do like them, not just to cover, but maybe even win outright. My pick is Baylor, plus the 2.5. I may sprinkle some pizza money on the money line.
Yeah.
But I do have it close. Baylor,
this is one of those things where I like both teams, right? I bet Baylor to win the Big 12, SMU to win the ACC with a long shot. Baylor, one thing I do like about what Baylor's doing is even if they struggle to beat Auburn and now they're playing SMU, that is 2 really good games to put yourself, even if they go 0-2 here, right?
Right. It's legit competition.
Yes. And SMU is also, after a cream puff, is playing a legitimate team.
Yes.
And you do that, you set yourself up for better play in the conference, right? So I do think that this is an interesting game, and I like the points. I like getting the points here. I just can't.
No, you can't go back to Baylor yet. Yeah, no. And my last pick is Michigan at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's given 5.5. So Michigan heads down to Norman. So we look at some of the numbers from what we got going on. Oklahoma comes in with the 23rd ranked offense and the 6th best passing attack in the country, which matches up against the Michigan defense. It's actually ranked 51st against the pass. 51st overall and 87th against the pass, which I just think it's a major edge for the Sooners. I know it's early in the season, but I still like that edge.
Is that because Michigan's defense gave up 17 points to New Mexico?
Yep.
Is that what that? Okay. Because Leary watched this game and said he thought Michigan's defense looked stout, and that's what I've read. I did not see that game. What surprised me was that New Mexico somehow scored 17 points, and they're supposedly not. Now, New Mexico last year was supposed to be a horrible team, and Dampier helped them get to 5 wins, but now they've lost their coach, they've lost their players. I'm confused by this game because neither team played anyone of substance last week.
True.
You know that I'm a Wolves fan, but I love Oklahoma this year. I'm going to sit back and watch this one.
Yeah.
I think Oklahoma's home and inside a touchdown. I don't hate the play at all.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you like my validation of your plays, right?
I do. So for me, the separator was the Sooners are are 6th in the nation on third down defense. Their conversion rate against them is 9%.
Right. But again, if you're looking at the data set for, that game, they were excellent in that game.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of feel like I need another data point to validate this stuff because you don't
I
know
agree.
what these teams are going to put out. What I do like about this is Mateer, right? We showed that earlier.
And I think he
Michigan does
overwhelmingly
not have a quarterback
gives
of
him
anywhere.
the edge.
Yes.
Again, they got Haynes at rushing, which I think gives Michigan the edge, but Mateer gives Oklahoma a bigger edge.
I'm sick of watching these teams and finding and everyone saying how great they are when they don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
Like that's why Florida State completely destroyed Alabama. They got that BC transfer who chirped all summer and then backed it up. Right? If you're able to do that, and I watched him, crush Syracuse on the ground last year and beat them. He is that Florida State quarterback is
So
Castellanos.
yeah.
He's a good quarterback, and he proved it. And if you have a quarterback and you have a good coach, that combination just trumps everything else.
It trumps
right?
a lot. The only thing I'm a little concerned with Michigan is their edge rushers. I think Mateer's going to be fine in or out of the pocket, but that's the only slight little worry you have.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I took Oklahoma. I'll give the 5.5 points. I still kind of think
It's a nice slate.
Oklahoma's going to win by 10.
Your slate up there looks solid.
That's what I got.
I'm going like off the grid. Like you've picked some of these teams that are, a little bit more well known, right?
I'm going to go with a little bit more mainstream.
Yeah. So that's not what I did, right?
No, but you got LSU up there again.
Yeah, well, so why am I going against LSU? We can start with that game. La Tech happens to be one of the futures I put up at over 5.5 wins. By the way, they're not winning this game. That's not what I'm trying to promote. What I'm saying is that they have players on their team, and LSU's in a sandwich game, right? They had that big win over Clemson. They got Florida coming up, and they've got a team that can play football that they're going against, albeit at home. Are they going to really go out there and try to just destroy a La Tech team? Because they can probably name the score to some degree here. But you're going to give me 37.5 points, right? So I'm getting plus 37.5. And so I'm taking La Tech, right? And I think that is, again, I'm not going to lay these large points. I've already got burned historically, and again this year. It's just not. So look for situations. The situation here is that La Tech is in a spot right now where I think they can cover that kind of line. His LSU is going to be in the middle of two games, what I'm going to call a sandwich game. You might call it a chipwich, which, by the way, I found out what a chipwich was at Mount Tabor last week. So Larry was wolfing that thing down. But anyway, I think that's what I would.
Wait. You found out?
I don't. The chipwich
what a
thing.
You didn't know what a chipwich
was not really on my radar, right?
Ever?
Probably when the ice cream truck came around, it was on the menu.
It's on the menu. Yeah. Oh my God! You didn't know what a chipwich was. I'm sorry. I have to get past that.
Yeah, two chocolate chip cookies with vanilla ice cream in between.
Yes.
But anyway, this is a chipwich. This is a chipwich game, by the way, right? This is like La Tech, LSU's in the middle of that, and I think that anyway. I think that
you have LA Tech, you have La Tech over LSU
with plus the 37.5.
So that I apologize. I'll fix this slide when I post it to.
Yes, Instagram. I'm not laying 37.5.
You're getting 37.
Right. I think I made that very clear in this discussion.
Yes, you did. I'm looking at the slide. I'm like, crap.
Yeah. So anyway, La Tech plus 37.5. Scooter will fix that. The next game on there is Mississippi State. Again, not a very strong SEC team, but give me the Cowbells at home over an Arizona State team that I think people are latching on to a little bit because they still have their quarterback back. They won the Big 12 last year. I just don't think they're going to have the same year. Everything went their way.
I do see them regressing.
Right. So I'm just going to take the home team. Give me a near touchdown there with less juice, and we'll see what happens. Now, this UAB Navy game, that is one of those games where I looked at Trent Dilfer as the UAB coach, former third year.
I like Trent.
He has basically got an open offense and his quarterback's returning, but he really doesn't have a lot of anything else, right? The defense is not very good. They're a team that is going to like throw the ball all afternoon. Navy will obviously be running a lot, right? That'll be the one downfall here would be like, are they going to take clock? But I think they're going to get chunks of yards. They're more willing than Army to pass the ball. They've got their quarterbacks are back. They have a receiving core that can catch the ball. They'll run a lot more than they pass. But I've watched games like this go over the total multiple times. And I was able to get it at 59.5 on DraftKings. It's 60 and 60.5 on other sites. And I think it's going to go up.
Okay.
So if you like this play, grab it before you get to Saturday. Because I'd be surprised if you see it go down unless there's some injury. And my rule is I like to have a number under 60. If you start seeing 61 and 62, I would lay off this thing. You don't want to chase it. So those are, you asked me to give you 3 plays. Those are the 3 plays I've got as of right now. There could be other ones that strengthen as this week goes on, but that's where I'm at now.
I'll be in Myrtle Beach. I'm actually going to the Coastal Carolina.
You're down where you can't bet again.
I can't bet again. I know it's going to be very bad because I like to try to hedge and I'm not going to be able to. Just keep your phone on. I may be texting you.
All right.
I wanted to actually make a play on Coastal's football, and there's no line. They're playing Charleston Southern, and I couldn't even find a line for the game.
Are they an FCS team?
I don't even know.
Oh God, maybe they're high school. They might be a high school team.
I think there's a reason Parents Weekend is this weekend because I don't see Coastal winning too many games, but they should win this weekend. So we'll move on over to the NFL. Let's preview the NFC. We did the AFC last week. And if you remember, here's our AFC picks. Again, these were thrown out on Instagram. Just please follow us on Instagram. You can see all this stuff. I don't know if there's anything we want to go over, but there they are.
The only thing I would point out here is if you see injuries or other things that are going on, you might want to evaluate whether or not you make a play based on what you've seen, right? For example, Micah Parsons, which we're going to get to, right, when we do in the NFC, getting traded would actually, I would think more about betting on Dallas and against Green Bay because of that. Because there'll be an overreaction to that line. Right. But there's nothing really here that I see that would, alter what we've done. One thing I did, I was talking to some people, Tyler Ferris, who we've talked about on this, he's a big New England guy and he's high on them. I think he thinks they're going to win, 9 or more games. That's why I did the alternate line. The reason I did the alternate line here is I'm getting plus 350.
Yeah.
And if you're looking for, if you're sort of thinking, where's that? That value is so much higher than any other book where I got it. Then I'm like, okay, Mike Vrabel could improve this team by 2 games and be 6-11. And I don't think anyone would be like, he did a terrible job.
I would agree with
that. Now, he could go 10-7, make the playoffs. Maybe even if you really want to take another shot, you could bet that team to win the division. And he get huge, 6, 7, 8 to 1. So if you're a New England guy and you want to take a shot on them, don't bet them at over 7.5 wins or 8.5. Well, bet them to do something significant or to do something that's way less than expected. Right. Because I don't think there's enough. It's not obvious enough for me to think that this is just a vanilla 9-8 team.
Right.
So that might be where they land, but
it might be.
Anyway, I want to just point that out.
I can't do anything with the Patriots because I hate them. Hence, I don't know if you noticed, but I am wearing a name.
By the way, can we talk about Bill Belichick for a minute?
Oh, that was a phenomenal game. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy.
So here's what I would say about that. Before we move forward, too much further, is getting back to the college football. We watched that North Carolina beat down last night.
Mhm.
They were up 7-0, and from that point forward, they got outscored 48-7.
Yeah.
Right. What I would say is there's the GM of that organization, Michael Lombardi. Okay. He's annoyed me for a number of years. Like, I listened to Vegas Stats and Information Network. They've got him as the GM expert because he has experience as a GM with Cleveland, with Oakland, with New England. You look at what his record was when he was the GM at Cleveland and Oakland, I don't think it's very good. He latched in with Belichick at New England, and they obviously built a dynasty there.
Yeah, well, he
but they
became a
built it
genius.
around Brady and the defense, right? I don't think Lombardi is a good talent evaluator, but he thinks he is, and he thinks he can judge everyone else. Like, he's been like, he used to have a little segment, which is, come into Michael's office and I'll tell you what you're doing wrong. Right? It was something like, come into my office,
Yeah.
right? I'm on the couch and I'm telling you, as a podcaster and an analyst, after New England had their run. But if you look at his history, so now Belichick goes to Carolina, brings Lombardi in. They're paying him a 3-year contract at $4.5 million, $1.5 million a year. And you look at the product he put on the field last night. And I got to tell you that he had 70 new players. He brought those 70 players in, and they're not going to compete with the other teams in the portal. Your bet on under 7.5 wins when you said you didn't like Belichick, I kind of snickered and said that's a bad reason to bet it. Michael Lombardi's a good reason.
Good reason to bet it.
So, Michael, if you're listening, now you get to listen to somebody else criticize you who doesn't know what they're doing either. So, enjoy that. A 48-14 beatdown.
48-14. It was great.
And Belichick did right.
Right.
And I'm actually a Belichick guy. I like Belichick. I know you don't.
I do not.
But I think that these guys are riding the quarterback on. This is why I'm starting to review quarterbacks on these teams, because if you don't have a quarterback, like Alabama doesn't apparently have one, it is really hard to win. And they rode the coattails of Brady,
Oh God, yes.
He
leaves,
and look, the guys they put around him, Lombardi they weren't that great. Those receivers, they were B-rate receivers that he knew how to connect with. Right?
What did Brady do when he had a top tier receiver? Broke the record for touchdown passes.
Right.
When he had
Moss.
Randy Moss.
Yeah. Anyway.
So I'll go over my NFL futures. I take a little different approach.
Michael Lombardi's listening to our podcast, by the way?
He has to be. I mean, why wouldn't you? This is gold. We're giving away gold.
Yeah. Maybe Bill will hire me as his GM and fire Lombardi.
I mean, you couldn't do much worse. Okay, we'll pivot to back to the NFL. So I took a little different approach than Tom. I'm looking for who I think is going to win these conferences, and then I have a couple of other picks. So obviously in the NFC East, I took the Eagles. I think I don't see.
You're really going out on a limb there.
I mean, the only other would be the Commanders. They're the only other team that has any shot. And I did throw in a Commanders over 9.5 wins play. But again, the NFC East is going to live and die with the Eagles. As long as they stay healthy, I don't see them not winning that out or pulling that out. The NFC North. So I have the Lions and Green Bay. I'm sorry, Minnesota. Those are the two teams that I kind of liked, but I went with I trust Goff more.
The Lions are up to 1 plus 185, right? That's all because of that Dallas trade.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty good odds if you got plus 185.
I got plus 185.
Yeah, that's an undervalued.
So these are in the book already.
Yeah.
Green Bay. I mean, listen, I don't love Jordan Love. I like Jared Goff more than Jordan Love, and so I went with the Lions there. The NFC South, it's either the Buccaneers or Jacksonville, and
not Jacksonville. They're in the AFC.
I'm sorry, not Jacksonville.
Atlanta.
Wrong conference. So yeah,
Jacksonville might win.
They might win.
South.
They have a better shot at the NFC South than they do their own, probably. But I took the Buccaneers over Atlanta. And then for the NFC West, so that's a 2-team race, right? It's San Fran or the Rams,
In your opinion.
in my opinion.
Right.
I know you have the Seahawks.
Not an opinion that I
mean,
have, but
sadly, I know who their quarterback is. I saw him for many years as a Jet fan. But yeah, I'll take. So I have it between the Rams and San Fran, and I like Stafford over Purdy. I think either one could go down at any time. I'm hoping Stafford stays healthy. He's supposed to start week 1, so that's what I'm going with. I did take the Commanders over 9.5. I already mentioned that, and I threw the Giants under 4.5 wins.
you know what these picks remind me of? These remind me of, like, I'm just going to take every favorite and hope that
The Rams aren't the favorite. I think San Fran is the favorite.
No, I don't think so.
And the Lions are absolutely not the favorite.
Okay. You're not going out on a limb, though, here.
Well, no, I want to try to win money.
You're not getting any value. Right?
I'm getting some value here. Listen, there's no value on the Eagles. Lions, I got some value.
I mean, I don't mean to criticize your picks, but I look at that slate and I'm like, that's just uninspiring. It's uninspiring.
I mean, listen, again, we have different approaches. You're looking for a long shot. I'm looking to win money.
All right. Well, okay. So I've got basically just about the opposite of what you have.
Like Giants winning the East. Come on.
Yeah. Again, you're going to give me 17-1. They're going to be a cagey team. If they go in and they beat the Commanders in week 1, this is going to flip the whole thing around, right? Dallas is a team
Is out.
Well, yeah, you say that, but they're also a team that's undervalued, right? If you're looking for value on Dallas now, you're betting them right now.
I agree.
Because I don't know that trade is as bad as everybody says it is. Everyone thinks Green Bay got the better of that trade. They got a malcontented guy.
No, I think they did for this year, but that's it.
Right, because you're going to get all those draft picks, right? And I'm not a Jerry Jones guy. I can't stand the guy, but I think there's a little bit of too much Micah Parsons or Michael Parsons, as Jerry Jones calls him.
He
can't get his first name right.
He is a special player. Parsons makes plays.
Yeah, but I mean, is he enough to swing odds around? I don't know. I feel like what's going to happen here is that everyone's going to hype up Green Bay. And it's not going to make that much of a difference. Now, you said the same thing, which I like your Lions bet, by the way. The only one I like better is the Vikings. To win them at 3 plus 355. Yeah. So I'm going with a quarterback coach. O'Connell knows how to coach quarterbacks. I'm hoping J.J. McCarthy is enough. I do worry about the connection he's going to have with J.J. Jefferson. But when Hawkinson comes back from his suspension, I think he's going to be solid. And I think they've got enough to actually compete in the North. And you're going to give me 3.5 to 1, which is twice the odds of Detroit. Giants 17-1. Laugh at it.
I'm not laughing.
Yeah, you did already. That's okay.
I mean,
I'm going to get 17-1 if they happen to win a couple of games early on and start surprising people. They have better quarterback room. They've got a good defense. I think each season's independent, and I'm not putting much money on it, right? The Buccaneers, most wins. You can laugh at that one. I don't know about that South Division. Atlanta, everyone seems to like. Carolina, maybe they're going to be good this year. So am I going to bet the Buccaneers as a favorite to win that division at minus 115? No. I'm going to go after, if they win the division at 10-7, maybe they'll win 13 games or 12 games. And I get the most wins and you're going to pay me 18-1 on it. So that was the reason why I took that. Seattle, I think all 4 of those teams are relatively equal, Scooter. Now, I know you think it's the 2-team race, Rams and 49ers. Race. I think that all of those teams, and that's why the Cardinals are on that board at 58-1. I think they can sneak into the playoffs. I don't see, if Stafford with his bad back, and look, I love the Rams.
Purdy and Stafford are your question marks.
Early on, by the way, I have a futures on the Rams. I didn't put it on this board, from back. I get more worried about that because of Stafford's health and things I've seen with Seattle and the Cardinals. You're going to give me 5-1 on a wide open division. I don't know that Seattle is that bad a team where they're 5-1 and the Rams are 2-1. That's my view is, again, it's a value play.
Yep, I see it.
And then the Giants, we've already talked about it. I've got a bigger bet on them to just get to 7-10.
I love that.
Right.
I have them under 4.5. You have them over 6.5.
Yeah.
And the value's, I mean, I got
The value's good in both places.
On both
that
bets.
is your Giants under is my New England bet.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Same thing.
Yes.
Right. The Giants have a tougher schedule. You're banking on them having struggled to win games at any point. And I'm saying they can compete and win games against all the teams they play. And that's the difference between 7-10 and 4-13.
Yep.
So again, these are value plays. They're plays I like. You notice I don't have a lot of win totals on here other than the Giants in the NFC. I went more after longer shots. I do think that Viking bet I really do like it. So can we just, before we close here, just a couple of things I just want to point out with these coaches, right? Or teams to fade. A couple of teams, I think, if you're betting college football, you need another week to really start betting more bets. But some of the teams, I'm going to start creating this. You know how we have a top 5 putting list at Mount Tabor?
Yep.
And we're going to hopefully create more top 5 lists. I'm going to have a top 5 fade list in the NFL and college and a top 5 play on, right, at some point. So teams right now, early on, that I'm looking to fade, right? Colorado, I really feel like anything that Deion does, he's going to do to the detriment of that team. I don't know why, but I just don't feel it. I like DeBoer. I liked him when he coached at Washington. I do not like him right now.
Not getting it done.
And I think that Alabama is another team you got to be careful of betting on, right?
I agree.
We already talked about Northwestern.
Yep,
fade them every week.
They're out.
Wake Forest beat Kennesaw State 10-9.
I mean, come on.
And they were celebrating. I got to see a little
I
bit
understand
more.
It's week 1, but you got to show.
But you
can't
beat a team like that 10-9 and be happy about it, right? When you're a 21-point favorite. And then the other one that this is just a personal. Like I read that Oregon State was supposed to be a little bit better this year. They lost by 20 points to Cal. So they've now joined my list.
I almost picked that game too. Yeah, I almost picked Oregon State to beat Cal.
Yeah, I mean, I think I did. So Oregon State, Colorado, Alabama, Northwestern, Wake Forest, beware.
Yep.
I think we've already talked about teams I liked early, and I still like them. Oklahoma and Utah.
Yep.
And LSU. I'm adding Miami to the list because of their quarterback, but it's neutralized a little bit by their coach.
The quarterback looked good.
Yes, and I more than I give them credit for. So I think that's a team that could play havoc with Clemson, Florida State. And you're right, like I feel like that's a wild card. So we need to see more data, but I think that Miami team might be somebody you can't just dismiss, despite the fact that I think their coaching is pretty poor.
So I have Notre Dame over 10.5 wins. And they lose to Miami, but have you looked at Notre Dame's schedule?
Don't they have one more tough game coming up?
They literally have one more tough game.
Yeah, and they got to win. It's Texas A&M, right?
And I think it's 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think they have anyone after that they can?
I mean, I looked quickly. There was at least 8 teams that
they got to play USC late in the year, though.
Yeah, but USC's not looking good.
Yeah, but that's a team that's
dangerous. I know they can always. They can again. It can be a tough game, but the odds are right now.
I'm not liking your bet right now.
I'm not either. I wanted them to win week 1. I don't either, but it is what it is. So that wraps up episode 12. Again, please follow us on Instagram. I'll put everything up there. Next week we'll have a recap of our college picks. Hopefully they'll be a little better than this week.
One thing we didn't do is put out any top NFL picks this week.
Oh, you know what? We did not.
But I think that's fine. Let's just kind of wait and see what happens in week 1.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed the Steelers are playing my Jets, and I gotta see Aaron Rodgers walk right in week 1.
Yeah.
That's
who are you taking in that game?
I'm proudly taking the Steelers. I would take the Steelers, and I'd give the points.
Really?
Yeah.
You go against your guys.
Yep.
Against, wow.
A Green Bay quarterback comes to the Jets, doesn't do crap, goes somewhere else and wins it.
I mean, one of the
systems
that I'm looking at for NFL Week 1 is, and this is pretty highly documented, is to pick these conference games where you've got dogs in a division game,
points.
Division game with the points.
It'll be close.
Right, so you got a few games like that. Seattle's getting 2.5 against the 49ers at home. Giants are getting 6.5 on the road in Washington. The Browns are getting a 6 with Joe Flacco starting against the Bungles. You've got these division games where you've got to consider, is it possible that, Dallas, everyone's thrown Dallas under the bus. It's going to be like, they may be 9.5 by the time that game ticks off on Thursday. If I'm betting that game, I'm taking the Cowboys. Yeah. So these division games are pretty stellar when you're getting points. Take a look at that. It doesn't mean you got to bet all of them. And by the way, if you're betting on these games, you got to believe the bet is right.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Like you have to
don't chase.
Yes. Right.
So that's that's episode 12. That wraps up the week. We'll be back next week with some more college picks, some more NFL picks. And we'll keep checking in on our your college futures with some Heisman Trophy.
As long as they're good, we'll stop checking in on them when they go bad.
Keep trending in the right direction.
Right.
That's all we got. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.